Hi, everyone. I hope you are having a wonderful day, morning, or afternoon, wherever you are. I'm going to share my screen here and we're going to jump in. So you'll be hearing from Reesa Lake and I at LTK. And then we have a fabulous creator panel focused on our conversation around Gen Z today. So I assume this screen looks okay. Let me know, team, if you can't see it. But really excited to be here. And really today's topic is focused on how to win over Gen Z with an emphasis really on their buying behavior. At LTK, we are focused really on full funnel results for brands, but in particular, we're really looking at how consumers shop and how they engage and interact with that content and those product recommendations that Gen Z is putting out there. So jumping to the next slide, if I can get there, there we are. So again, I'm Allie Anderson. I work on our brand partnerships team. So I'm focused predominantly on brand relationships at LTK and providing that strategy for brands to work with fabulous influencers like Chloe, Tess, and Ava Moon, who you'll be hearing from today. But I'm also joined by Reesa Lake, who leads our creator expansion and agency team over at LTK. And you'll be hearing from her a bit more about her role in a minute. So I'm going to spend the first handful of minutes just really setting the stage for the conversation of what we're seeing on our platform and what we're hearing off our platform, really about how to work with Gen Z and kind of those shifts that we're seeing take place naturally. So before I do that, I'm just going to pause. This is a little bit about our company, and I think it's really relevant for this conversation because there's a few really large macro trends going on with Gen Z specifically. So they're shopping creator content more than the general consumer, and they're using social apps more than the general consumer, and they're shopping in those social apps more. So when we think of LTK, we call ourselves a three-sided marketplace, and it really focuses on those larger macro trends at play there. So side one is that creators have I guess, the ability to link to any type of content, any type of brand product on any platform. We're talking a lot about TikTok, of course, but really we see a new platform emerge on average every 3 years or so at LTK. And so it's really important to stay on top of those trends. How are influencers linking? How do you essentially go viral with them? And that's where the brand side of our marketplace comes in. So again, I sit on our brand team and we're really focused on that strategy. How do you partner with creators? A lot of that comes down to working with them on campaigns and certain types of attributes like the campaigns. But really the benefit of our platform is those links live far, far outside of just that campaign content. And we bundle them into the LTK app specifically. And so creators think of our app as kind of their center for product recommendations and that consistent driving force as social platforms change and emerge. So just a little content sneak peek. Again, I hinted at those macro trends. So creators are actually the most trusted digital media for Gen Z. We've done several national studies and consumers actually rank creator above, in some cases, friends and family for Gen Z specifically, in terms of getting recommendations and product recommendations from different mediums. So think of celebrities. You're trying to place your brand dollars and you're thinking, should I work with a celebrity or should I work with a Gen Z creator? Consumers are actually raising their hand and saying they trust creator more than celebrities. They're also the most influential generation on social media. So I have some data that I'll be sharing, and it shows that Gen Z is shopping creator content far above and beyond a millennial and far and above and beyond the general population. And of course, you can't talk about Gen Z without talking about short form video content. So just a little sneak peek. Again, we'll keep this brief before we get into the conversation. Really what we're seeing as we go into 2023, we've been talking about Gen Z and how to partner with Gen Z in a unique way and how it differs from millennial and how it differs from other generations, of course, for many years. But really the shift that I'm seeing on the brand side is this shift to Gen Z being that always on disruptor. They're trend centers, they choose authenticity. Of course, their buying power is increasing over time. And so it's really important for your brand to think about how you can weave that into your conversations and everything that your brand is doing, both on social media and off social media. So a lot of stats here. I'm not going to read every single one of them, but 79% of Gen Z say that they shop from social media. So a pretty large segment. I anticipate that just continues to go up and up and up. And then 73% of Gen Z watch creator videos on social media. And again, this is data from a recent study that LTK conducted to 1,000 consumers in the US. And then 76% purchase from creator on social media. So again, a massive number there. But what I think is the most interesting is looking at that shift by generation. So we actually see that 28% more of Gen Z, they're shopping creators more than that general population and watching videos more than that general population. So if you're a brand on the phone, it's super important to pay attention to what they're looking for, how they're spending their time, and what networks they're staying in. And of course, the icing on the cake, and something we're watching really closely here, is in-store shopping behavior. How do you attribute online and offline? That's a big topic we're talking about with brands this year. And we see that 43% of Gen Z actually shop in-store from influencer recommendations. So I think of my shopping habits, and of course, I'm walking through a retailer that I normally go to just for errands. And if I see a product that I've seen a creator talk about, I'm more likely to pick it up. So that's essentially what that stat shows. And then again, short form videos. So you can't talk about content and Gen Z particularly, and how they're going to post that content without short form video. So of course, platform conversations and what platforms we should be leaning into from a brand strategy standpoint are really, really key. So again, 99% watch some type of video, not necessarily creator, but some type of video on social media. And the time really varies. But really where we're seeing is this emergence of TikTok. So it's grown, it's grown, it's grown. But what's really interesting is where they're shopping and where they're following creator is different. And so that's something to pay close attention to. So while of course TikTok is ranked #1 in a lot of areas, we still see kind of Instagram standing as that shining star in terms of shopping behavior and shopping activity. So just something to pay attention to. I anticipate, of course, this will be shaken up this year like everything is every single year. And then the other big point I just want to make is just Gen Z is the least impacted by inflation. Of course, we're talking closely with our brand partners here at LTK about just like the economy, what's going on. Of course, no one has a crystal ball, but we do see Gen Z's buying power continuing to increase, and they're the least impacted by everything going on in the economy. So when you combine this with all these macro trends, you're really looking at a super influential market and a super influential generation all in all. So again, just a quick little recap before we get to the good stuff. Gen Z is the least impacted by inflation. They're doing the majority of their shopping online, and that content's through their phone, and they trust creators more. So creators are a really amazing tactic for brands to include, not just in one aspect of when you're thinking of how to place marketing dollars, but really in all aspects of marketing dollars, especially as we think about that influence online to offline. And they're the most influential shopper of all of our shoppers online. So that is what I have for you today. I'm going to hand the floor over to the fabulous Reesa Lake to do a little Q&A with our wonderful Gen Z creators. Reesa, thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you, Allie. And I know that people are asking, are they going to get this recording? I'm sure that they want to see all of those slides that you put up with those incredible stats and the research that we have done here at LTK to really support those metrics. I'm Reesa Lake. I lead creator expansion, our agency partnerships here at LTK. I have been working in the influencer space for, 15 years, managing creators, building, helping them build their brands, but then also working with brands and matching them with creators. At LTK, I really focus on on empowering the next generation of creator to be successful, to build businesses on our platform. And then I also lead a lot of our partnerships. So excited and thankful for my continued partnership with Launchmetrics. And I met both Chloe and Ava through partnerships that LTK has done. So let's start off by just getting to know them, how they got started, being an influencer, a Gen Z influencer, and what type of content do they focus on. So Chloe, would love to hear from you first.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today. So my name is Chloe. I am a fashion and beauty lifestyle content creator based in Los Angeles. And just a little bit about my journey. I started creating content consistently and really taking my Instagram seriously when I started at USC in 2018. I just graduated. I mainly was just posting college content. I would do a lot of takeovers with the USC Instagram account, the admissions account, because I was a tour guide. So I kind of got my foot in the door there and just doing takeovers, day in the life. And I really, really liked it. And so I decided to do more of that on my personal Instagram page. And people would kind of go over there to follow and see more of the day in the life college student. I did a lot of sorority content, and I always loved, having color on my feed, and I had presets, and a lot of people would ask me about my presets on my feed. So I started selling my presets on a blog that I had created, and that was kind of my first look at monetizing the online presence that I had grown. I wasn't really working with brands at the time. I was doing like small, gifting collabs with boutiques in LA, but that was basically it. And then during the pandemic, I really committed myself to fully making this a stable job for me post-graduation and not just a hobby. And so I started focusing on working with brands and doing paid collaborations. And then I shifted my plan for post-grad from law school to full-time content creator. And that's what I'm doing now. And I'm so excited, and I'm really grateful to have a job that I just love so much.
And I'm sure that everything that you learned in those the courses leading up to being possibly going to law school will help you with the negotiating of contracts, even though I do know that you work with an amazing agent. And I thought it was really interesting that you said that, your first entry into monetization of content was the presets and being able to actually understand that you could actually drive sales to your community, which then impacted the future of you building your business as an influencer creator. Ava, I'd love to hear from you. How did you get started and what type of content do you focus on?
Hi, so I'm Ava Moon. You can imagine there's a blue sea around me. I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma, but I go to the University of Oklahoma, and we are in the middle of a complete winter storm. Haven't had school for a while, so maybe that's what's up. So I started influencing when I was around 14 or 15, so a freshman in high school. I am now a senior in college at my last semester. And I started off kind of just with jewelry, fashion, just very basic things. And I was on TikTok when it was just kind of starting up and people were starting to blow up. And so it's interesting to see how I've grown, because now I'm working with fashion, lifestyle, food, all of the brands. So it's been exciting to grow. And I kind of just took off on TikTok. Around my senior year of high school, junior year, I posted just a getting ready for prom video, and it kind of launched, and I've been doing a lot of content ever since.
So you talk about TikTok, Ava, you talked about a blog. There are so many social platforms that really can consume a lot of your time and energy, and also even deciding what content lives across those different platforms and use them each for different reasons. Both of you have an LTK account. Chloe, I was just watching a video recently of you talking about all of your products on your LTK account. Can you talk a little bit about how you use LTK and how that fits within your strategy of whether it's just content that you're producing or posting, and then also just how it has impacted your business?
Yeah, so for me, I post an outfit photo every single day on my Instagram, and I always want my audience to know that I'm going to be willing to tell them where I got anything, how they can get it, the prices of the items, and if there are cheaper alternatives, more expensive options, like anything like that. So I always try, and once I post my Instagram photo for the day, it's kind of like in my schedule. I then go into LTK to link all of my items and things that I'm sharing on Instagram, just so that it's consistent, and I kind of have trained my audience to know that I'm going to link with LTK whenever I post an outfit photo. It's just I really don't want my audience to feel like I'm gatekeeping from them, or that I don't want to put in the work of actually influencing them. And I feel like that's my job. LTK is a great way to, consistently connect with your audience by doing your job of actually influencing, like I said. So I can post outfits for sure and link and tag where I got them and just say the general brand. But why should my audience have to chase, the exact product link and figure out like what the actual shirt is called? That's my job as an influencer and a content creator. And it's really like the least I could do to thank my audience. So I really like using LTK because I can just always consistently give that back to my audience and say, here's the exact link, here's the price. Like, I did all the work for you. Like, if you want to look at it, here it is. And that's just really why I like it. And it's easy to be consistent on it because it's just a great platform that will allow you to set up your feed just like Instagram.
So the term gatekeeping was a term that was new to me. I actually heard about it first from Ava on a focus group that we were doing about Gen Z and how they approach brand partnerships, how Gen Z looked at promoting products, because there definitely is this sense that, gatekeeping was cool. Ava, could you even give it, how would you explain or describe or define gatekeeping?
So I used to, get bullied by 12-year-olds on TikToks because I was a gatekeeper. And how I would explain that is, so for someone just not sharing a product that they are clearly showing off. So if I'm posting a little TikTok, clearly showing off my outfit, and I have 300 comments, girls being like, where is this from? Where is this top from? And I'm just clearly not responding, I would call that gatekeeping. I have moved on. I have matured from that stage. I think everyone has, as just trends are so big, and we really have seen a difference where I don't feel like many people are gatekeeping anymore, just because there's so many tools to earn commission off of things that you link or possible partnerships that you can gain from just sharing organically, like what you're wearing and such. So I think we're transitioning out of that time.
Well, that's good news. And I think if you even think back to the early days of bloggers and blogging, and there used to be this, almost like the audience would rebel against sponsored content, but now it's just such a part of our lives that we look towards those sponsored posts. We are excited to see that our favorite influencers are getting opportunities with brands that they love. So hopefully this transition away from gatekeeping. And I think that LTK is a platform that can really also help break down those barriers, because people want to know what it is that you're posting about in those TikTok videos. In the slides that Allie went through, is really talking about all of the different social channels and what is the most popular for Gen Z. Being that we have both of you in IRL, I would love to hear just how you think about the different social media channels and how you strategize what content lives on both of them. We talked about blog, we talked about TikTok. We haven't really chatted much about Instagram. Chloe, how do you decide what content goes where?
So for me, I've kind of set up my content in a way that, again, can just be consistent for my audience so they know what to expect on each platform. Instagram, you can expect an outfit photo and a reel, whether that be a makeup reel or an outfit reel, every single day. And then on TikTok, it's a lot more casual. So I, can post something funny on TikTok, like in an actual in-feed post on TikTok, if that makes sense, that I wouldn't post on my Instagram reels because I keep it more aesthetic over there. But I just love Instagram personally. Like, I love being able to curate my exact feed, and I've always loved photos. I really like the algorithm of Instagram Reels in particular, because I feel like even if it doesn't go viral with the Explore feed on Instagram or the For You page on Instagram, my followers will at least see my Reels, and I feel like that just really, really builds a tight-knit community on Instagram. Whereas TikTok, it's a little bit harder to predict with the algorithm. I feel like if TikTok is going to push a video of mine, it will most likely be just to the For You page and not even my followers on there. And so for me, like when I am building a tight-knit community and somewhere that I want people to, shop from me because they trust me, I really want my followers to be seeing it, if anyone, rather than just like new people. I want to nurture like my community first. So that's why I like Instagram better personally for me right now. And then of course I love LTK. It's kind of just like a one-stop shop for both Instagram and TikTok to kind of just like guide everyone there.
So it's not about really, the mass acquisition of followers. It's about building a tight-knit community and, supporting them as they support you.
Yeah, that's what's always been most important to me, because I also find that's what's going to get you paid more with brand collaborations, is having that higher engagement rate within your community, and also having like a higher conversion rate, because people trust you and they know you and they want to buy from you. People can have 100,000 followers on any platform, really, like from whatever, if you just had like a video go viral or something like that, and no one's really going to shop from you because they don't know you and they don't know your taste in clothing. Like on LTK, I'm going to share my measurements, my sizes, all that stuff, so that people know kind of like what I would really suggest, and they trust me, if that makes sense. Yeah.
So that trust, authenticity, and
Yeah.
community. Ava, what about you? How are you deciding what content goes across different platforms?
So personally, I've always used Instagram for my personal like aesthetic content, my feed posts. I have not gotten to the reels yet. I like to keep my pictures on Instagram, my videos on TikTok. I think it's funny to see how all the apps are doing a little copycat deal where, you know, Instagram is now doing reels, TikTok has stories, all the things. But personally, I like to do my static posts on Instagram. I think that's where they do best. For TikTok, I can do more casual things, kind of just like funny content or fashion content, and it like ranges from like how well like it does. I love using LTK on both of them through my link tree, just to like link everything, so everything once again is in just one place. I also love doing Instagram stories because I feel like they're just so reliable. Everyone's checking Instagram stories. It's not as much pressure on your feed posts, but it really does get the content out there. You can do direct links, direct tagging. I think that Instagram stories also have been a great thing for content creators.
That's awesome. And we have so many marketers and brands on the line that are like, they want to win with Gen Z. They want to figure out how to have the most and launch the most authentic partnerships that really drive their KPIs. What advice, and I know that we talked about this a little bit earlier in the week about, really what does a successful brand partnership look like for you and your audience? Chloe, as you kind of go into brand partnerships and you get an offer for a brand, you get that email and you're really excited to partner with that brand, what within that offer and the opportunity, really do you get excited about, and that it will perform with your audience? And then also on the flip side, what do you know is going to fall flat and not succeed?
Yes. So I think it's definitely just important to remember that I feel like sponsored content in general is just not going to perform as well. Generally speaking, people kind of skip through ads, or they don't engage with it as much. And that's just been my experience. So I kind of always expect an ad to not perform as well in my head prior to creating the content. So what I do to counteract that and do even better is I want to create the most savable and shareable content in general for this ad. And it doesn't even have to be about the ad in particular. Like, something about the photo has to be savable and shareable, because I know that that's what's going to do well with my audience, and people are going to want to save that. And even if it's teaching them something like how I style this, and it happens to be, the shirt that I'm creating an ad for, like, people can then take that and use those tips for anything else. So just making it savable and shareable is really important. I feel like you can create something super aesthetic and very, very cute. If it's, an ad for a coffee company, you can then go and take photos at sunset in a really cute outfit and, be holding that cup of coffee and create the same content that you would if you're just taking it in your apartment posing like this. Like, no one really wants to save or share that content of you just like holding the cup. Like, that's not going to do as well as if you actually put in the effort to the sponsored post and make it something that's going to be savable and shareable in general. So that's really what I like to do, is create things that people either want to recreate or save as inspo for something that they would like to do in the future.
I hope marketers are writing that down. And when you are engaging with creators, and I know our BP team here at LTK, we work really closely with them, and they're listening to creators to really hear what it is that is going to either hit that save or be forwarded as that share. And as we talk with creators about building their business and their brands, everything that we talk about is create content that inspires, educates, and entertains. So if your sponsored content is not doing one of those three things, definitely take a second look at it. Ava, what about you in terms terms of sponsored content, and when you get those opportunities from brands, what do you look at as something that you know will perform versus maybe fall flat?
I love any and all opportunities that I do get. I'm always super excited to be working with a new brand. Personally, my biggest advice is to like somehow get to know your creator a little bit, whether that's like looking at their channel, emailing. What I think creators know what they're best at and what will perform best just because they're, curating these pages for themselves. And if marketers / social media coordinators let us creators have a little bit more freedom, I always think that the content does better, because if we're able to make this content, the sponsored content, look more organic to our followers, then they're not so hesitant to, just scroll past like, oh, this is an ad. She doesn't really mean it. I think, and I know there's a lot of guidelines when you have to do hashtag ad and such, but if there's a way to just make the content seem more organic, I think that is huge. Once again, like us creators do not want to make bad content, so we're going to do our best for brands and such. I think we are always going to try hard to work with different brands and such. One strategy that I've seen that I think really works is Bloom Nutrition. I've worked with them, and they will pay you just to throw it in an organic video, which I've seen all over my For You page. And I feel like that is such a strategic, good idea on just not even the product being the focus of your post, as more of just like, oh, what's that? I see everyone with that, I think just being organic and true to yourself as a creator is really the key point when doing brand deals.
It's that subliminal message that's like, wait, why am I seeing this everywhere? And why do I need it? And all of my internet best friends are talking about, where do I buy it? How do you see social media changing this year? I mean, we have seen, to think about that TikTok in the past year and a half has, increased to billions of engagements on the platform. What do you see changing in the next year? Ava?
So I think we've gone through some waves. I think everyone is trying to be a creator and influencer right now, which I love to see. But it's kind of hard, just with the algorithms and everything's quite saturated and such. But I really think the biggest difference is for influencers, our audiences are looking for authentic, like, people, people that they can relate to. I know, Alex Earl is the biggest thing on the internet right now, and everyone just loves her because they're like, oh my gosh, I first of all want to be her. Second of all, like, want that lifestyle. Also, she's, just relatable in a way. So I think that's key on how social media is changing, just the people within it, kind of sticking with a niche, but also being themselves and not so, curated and maybe not aesthetic all of the time.
It's interesting that you bring up Alex Earl, and I'm sure that the marketers on the phone, whether it is they're personally, intrigued by the mass success that this woman has had in such a short time, or someone on their team is saying, how do we work with Alex Earl? What do you think it is about her from a Gen Z perspective that, she rose to fame overnight? I'd love to hear from both of you, because it's a conversation that we have, from the leadership down. There's a fascination, and we're so happy she's part of the LTK community, and she's building a shop. So she's been one of my personal highlights. But there is just this conversation around her. I'd love to hear from the Gen Z, from your perspective, why and how. Chloe, Ava.
Yeah, I actually saw something on TikTok yesterday about her, and it was kind of talking about the fact that, like, during the pandemic and the past couple of years, we've really been hyper focused on this wellness creator where everything is so perfect. Like, it's the it girl aesthetic. She wakes up at 5 a.m. and she does Pilates before having her green juice, and like everything is just so perfect and clean, clean girl aesthetic, healthy, everything. And Alex has kind of come in with this, like, going out, I'm gonna have fun, like my room's a mess, like look at my room, it literally has like trash from, you know, last week on the floor, like my leftovers that I ate yesterday, like just really showing like the raw reality of her life in college, and literally just showing it as it is. And no one was really doing that before, and so the fact that she was doing it, she wasn't like following a trend to be more relatable, like she genuinely was just showing her situation. And I think people definitely like that because it's more refreshing. I just think people are excited to be like, I don't, not even just like a party culture, but like going out and being honest about like everything that's going on in your life without having to be stuck in this it girl wellness, perfect, clean girl aesthetic. And she's obviously, you know, great and fashionable and beautiful and all these other things, but it's like she doesn't have to be just stuck in that it girl, if that makes sense.
Yeah, she's like, she's peeled the layers back. Where, as you think about it, I remember, you know, the first creators that really grew on Instagram, it was like, how do you get that beautiful photo of the peonies and the ice cream cone and, you know, the beautiful backdrop in Provence? Like there was like this necessary curation where Alex is the complete opposite of that. Ava, I'd love your thoughts, and then we're going to go to some questions about the audience. And if the marketers who are on the call, if you don't know who Alex Earle is, I promise you within the next 2 weeks, you are going to hear her name multiple times.
Yeah, so I think she, well, first of all, is stunning. So that catches your attention right off the bat. But also I think she has this thing where her makeup videos, she's doing makeup and she's telling a story. So you're not even like realizing that you're watching her content just because you feel like you're on FaceTime with a friend, the way that she's talking to you and she's telling you a story. So she could really throw in anything, any like sponsorship, and you're just like taking it in as you would be talking to a friend. It doesn't feel pushed. I think she's relatable once again because she's in college and she is showing that there is a balance of things you have to do. I think everyone is fascinated with how she's living her life and just how crazy it is. I mean, I saw this thing and it's like, does she do homework? You know, like how does she even work out? And I think she's just really good at, you know, once again, like Chloe said, just showing it all. And, you know, her room's not always picked up. Not everything is perfect content. You get, you know, sponsored content, but also day in the life, being hungover. I think she just shows a really good balance. And the way that she's a storyteller is really captivating for all the audiences.
That's really interesting where you bring up, you know, storytelling and bringing the audience into your content, which Chloe goes back to so much of what you said of building the community, making sure your content that you're posting is either shareable or say that the audience wants to save it. I think that those are really important things for our marketers to remember. We're going to open it up to some questions. I know that we've had to have some have come through the chat here. I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Allie, who's going to moderate our last 10 minutes. And if you guys have any more questions, please drop them in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Reesa and Chloe and Ava. It's always so wonderful to hear perspective from Gen Z specifically. It's working with brands day in and day out. That's something they're always craving and always wanting to hear direct. So your insights are so valuable. Okay, cool. I'm going to kick it off just with a couple questions and we'll get to what we can get to. And then of course we can follow up. But we're going to start with just a little bit more of a discussion about short form video specifically, and how it excites Gen Z, and then just dive into longer form video and live shopping. So I can kick it off. And then of course, if anyone has any commentary to add, feel free to jump in. But really what I'm seeing from the brand perspective is short form video is absolutely outperforming long form video, at least from a brand partnerships angle. Again, I'm focused more on that brand element. We're talking to brands really about like what goes viral, what's holding consumers' attention, and what we're seeing is short form video. And just, we shared some stats from our national study, but when we look at the LTK platform specifically, we have 18 million shoppers who use our app. So a really large sample size there. Of course, we work with, I'd say, you know, the best of the best creators curated to partner with the best of the best brands on our platform. And so I think from when we look at just like what our platform's doing and how that mirrors what we're also hearing outside of our platform, it really gives that data point legs. And so what we're seeing on LTK specifically our content creators are posting over double the amount of short form video year over year. On top of that, brands are spending 5 times more on this medium. And it's because it's performing better. So it's simply engaging, the performance is higher. We see static content and kind of that, that outfit post going absolutely nowhere. That's still, of course, the bulk of what we're seeing. But what we're really seeing is when you look at growth percentages, video and short form specifically outweighing the growth of other tactics. So from long form video to static posts. And so that's really what I'm seeing from brands. And I'm just seeing the desire. It gives, again, going back to your point about authenticity, I always use this example of, the dress with pockets. You might not know the dress has pockets. You're just looking at, a static photo, but when the creator's talking about it, it demonstrates that product in use. And it does sound a little snippet that makes it super engaging. So I'd say that's my answer from the brand standpoint, but Reesa, Chloe, Ava, weigh in if you have any additional 2 cents on the topic.
No, I mean, I'd love to hear. I mean, I think that just as consumers, we want to see products in motion, and you're able to see that through short form video. But for Chloe and Ava, obviously we've talked about TikTok. Chloe, you talked about Reels. Would love to hear from you. Were you ever focused on YouTube as longer form content?
I do post on YouTube, but I post weekly vlogs. I did a few sponsored like shampoo things on YouTube just because that's what the brand was requesting. But I would obviously prefer to do it on TikTok and Reels just because I know that's going to perform better. And I just personally I think live shopping is fun. I just don't have the attention span to listen for a long time just because I'm constantly and so many of us, Ava, you probably relate, I'm just always scrolling and seeing things like the videos that I'm literally saving all the time. I know that there's 7 seconds or less because then when I go to when I save the trending audio and try to make a video, I can't make anything more than 7 seconds for most of my saved audios. And those are the most popular videos. So that's how I know that my attention span is just not there for a half hour live shopping. I'd rather just be able to scroll on my own time very quickly on LTK, on their LTK page, and I can see short videos of them wearing it. But that's just me personally.
I would just add really quickly that I think as time goes on, our attention span gets shorter. I think that's a proven fact. I feel like if you search on the web and it takes more than 3 seconds to load, you're like, I'm done. And I think our generation is focused on instant gratification. So we want to see those things right there. I think we're all sick of go to part 2, just show us right now. Come on, we want to see it in all of it whole. So I just think, the instant gratification has a lot to do with that.
Which is the opposite of gatekeeping, which is why also for creators and influencers to be able to build a shop on LTK where, your audience knows that the shirt that you're wearing, the necklaces that you have on, Ava, whatever I'm seeing, not behind your green screen, Chloe, I know I can go to your LTK shop and I can find all of your products in your recommendation. So I like there's a power in terms of shopping and commerce to know that a shop lives in one place and you don't have to tune in at a specific time to get those recommendations.
Yeah, just to add really quick, I will not be chasing a link. I just won't be doing that. I won't be searching. I really suggest to any brand, when you are designing the paid partnerships, make sure that the creator is sharing the direct link to the product on Instagram stories. If you're doing a set of Instagram stories and the post, not just to the website in general, really just to the exact pieces, because it's just, we don't want to be chasing the links and having to search up brown long sleeve top on the website to try and figure out which one it is. We want to see the actual product.
I think that's a perfect segue to the next question, which is tips on how to best use LTK links in social media or website content. What works best? And really what I can kick it off from the brand standpoint, it's the end of the day, exactly what we said for video. Consumers want to see that product in action. They trust that creator. Again, it goes back to that trust and that credibility. I think of the creators I follow, maybe I purchased one product from them for the first time. I loved the product, so I purchased another product, and over time it adds up and you build that trust. You're shopping this creator's content because every time you shop it, you get exactly how the creator described it. So when it comes to linking specifically for brands here at LTK, of course, it depends on like the brand's goals and the brand strategy, what social network we're going to really lean into, that package we put together. So there's not like a one-stop shop, but I think when it comes to kind of like macro tips, it would be linking back again to LTK. You need to be able to find that product. It needs to be searchable. One of the big trends, at least I'm seeing, is a shift to consumers using search in a different way than they have in years past, and a shift to searching creator content, searching within LTK. We've had search functionality for quite some time now. And so to me, making sure that content is discoverable and it's that exact link. So whether it be if your strategy is, to entertain and drive awareness, the links still need to be there because people are going to be asking. And I think, Ava, that goes back to your point with gatekeeping. So I know not like a exact answer, because again, it varies. What are you trying to achieve as a brand? So I think once you nail that down, we can really put together a comprehensive linking strategy. But I think having it all housed in one place that consumers are already familiar with and creators are already familiar with just makes it all the easier for shoppers to shop that content. Does anyone have anything else to add to that one?
I was just going to say, I feel like with LTK's updates recently, I think a huge thing is that we're now able to do these product lists and gift guides. And I feel like those are really great for people to, even if they are following a direct link, they're going and looking back at all of the rest of the products, direct linking within Instagram stories on your link tree. I think it's really important. Yeah, once again, when you see that content, having that instant link, instant gratification. And yeah, once again, those product lists, I think, open up a bunch of opportunities.
Awesome. And then we have 2 minutes left, y'all. So we'll do the last question, and it's just how brands can tap into personalization with Gen Z specifically. So really from the brand side, what I'm seeing is just, again, going back to one of the first slides I presented, is that really always on impactful strategy. You're building a relationship. Again, Gen Z and their shoppers have a relationship with that creator specifically. And so it's that trust, and it's building that long-term partnership over time. And that to me is really the most personalized example that I can think of when we're talking with brands. Of course, you want to test and learn in a really authentic nature to see what works well, who really resonates. But I think it's that longer term kind of partnership with the right creators that really drive those results and that authenticity and that personalization that, of course, your brand is trying to reach with shoppers. So I'll open this up to Reesa, Chloe, and Ava. I feel like y'all probably have a perspective on this one.
No, I completely agree. I think, before you're going and trying to request that a creator do a TikTok dance video, actually check her channel and see if she does TikTok dance videos, because 1, she'll probably not respond to your email if she doesn't. 2, she'll decline. Or 3, if she does, it's just going to fall flat. So I think just really knowing who the creator is, who the talent is that you're going after, and making sure that the campaign really resonates with them, or maybe not be so defined that you need the dance video, and say, actually, Chloe, Ava, how would this product fit into your content, into your life? But Chloe, Ava, would love your thoughts too.
That's perfectly well said. Exactly everything you said.
I feel like, brand loyalty and follower loyalty is just huge. And someone's following you, they're there for a reason. They want this certain type of content. So when a creator is super into free people, all of her people are going to be buying free people, and they're there to see the free people. And so there's where, those partnerships coming from. So I think follower loyalty versus brand loyalty is just huge. And that you can see that within the content.
I love that. So I learned 2 things for two new terms. So follower loyalty, and that you don't want to chase the links. I'm glad that we're no longer gatekeeping, because that was the last thing I learned from you, Ava. But it's fascinating how, Gen Z creators create content, how they engage with their audiences. and how they think about those engagements. And I go back to, 12 years ago when I first started managing bloggers at the time before Instagram existed, and we had the same conversation. So none of this should be new. It's just being reinvented with a new generation across new platforms.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, everyone. I think that is all that we have for today, but this was such a fun discussion, and we hope it was informational and impactful, and you have some good conversations that come internally from the discussion today.
Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Chloe and Ava. I look forward to following your continued success. You are brilliant young women, and I know that you have a bright future ahead of you. So thank you so much.
You're the best. Thank you so much. This was so fun. Thank you both. And thank you, Ava.
Yes, thank you all. I had the best time.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.